नमस्कार देवी और सज्जनों, आप सभी का एक बार फिर स्वागत है द टाइम पास पॉडकास्ट में। आज की हमारी गेस्ट हैं अनिंदिता भसीन उर्फ सितारों का बाशिंदा। तो जब भी वो इस पॉडकास्ट को ज्वाइन करती हैं, हम उनके साथ बातचीत करेंगे, गप्पे मारेंगे, उनके बारे में जानेंगे, उनकी बिल्ली के बारे में जानेंगे और वगैरह वगैरह। सो we'll be getting started any minute now. She's joined. I'll just have to add her. That's it. Okay. नमस्कार अनंता जी, कैसी हैं आप?
नमस्ते, सत श्री अकाल, both parts.
फिर तो we should also go to
नमस्कार.
Namaste or no?
नमस्कार. It's fine. Yes.
बढ़िया है. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the show. Glad you could join us. And
Glad I could be a part of this.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, just one thing I want to. I just want to ensure that you fit in the frame and don't keep going out of the frame.
Yes.
So, if you
I
want
am
to just
perfectly
adjust
in
the
the
camera
frame.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Looks good. ठीक है. तो बिल्कुल ऐसे शुरू करते हैं कि मुझे बस बताओ, मतलब let's say we've never met before. I want to just know who you are, where do you come from, what do you do, and then we'll take it forward.
Okay. So let's start with the very beginning, as Julie Andrews said in Sound of Music, right? So I am Anindita Basu Roy from birth and Bhasin by marriage. So I'm a Bengali girl married to a Punjabi guy right now, settled in Delhi. And yes, I know I've heard it quite a number of times. And thanks to Karan Johar that he's brought up another story, which is perhaps, my love story or our love story, Rocky or Rani ki prem kahani. But usse pehle we were always called Vicky Donor Part 2. Uh, so that has been it. And I am basically a content writer in the field of education. But apart from that, I occasionally don the hat of a quiz master, a cook. Also, sometimes, I do a lot of events, so event manager perhaps. So I do a lot of things. I love to read a lot. I can't go to sleep without a page of reading every day. I love listening to good music, and of course, movies and TV series are things that perhaps connect me and my husband more than anything. So, and perhaps that's how we met you as well, and that's how I know you as well. And yeah, that is
Got it.
about me. Yeah.
So, where were you born, मतलब?
I was born in Calcutta. Since I said I'm a Bengali girl, I was born in Calcutta. But my father was in the central government, so I have a varied experience of perhaps traveling across the length and breadth of the country thanks to my father's transferable job. I've been in Assam, I've been in Andhra Pradesh, I've been in Bihar, in Chhattisgarh, in Odisha, and of course at the end of his career he was posted in Delhi, but since his quarter allotted was in Noida, so again Uttar Pradesh, and finally right now I'm in Delhi. So I have these are the places I've stayed, and of course there are places I have worked. So I worked in Bombay, I worked in Bangalore. So I have had great experience of perhaps being around the length of the breadth of the country. So yeah.
Right. So, does Calcutta always feel home, or is there some other place which you like more than, not more than Delhi or anything, but I'm saying that other than Delhi, which place do you really like to go to?
Interestingly, Delhi is my third favorite city in the country. It's not the first. If still given a chance, I would like to shift to Pune, which is one of the cities that I really, really find solace in, because I'm a person who loves a little of tranquility and peace. I am not into honking and so Calcutta also doesn't come in that first place, because Calcutta is again you have honking, you have blowing of horns and whatnot. So first is Pune. If given a chance, I would love to settle down in Pune. Second city is Calcutta because hometown is hometown for a reason, right? I mean, and I think one interesting thing when people tell us, so how long did you stay in Calcutta? If I count in all those summer holidays, winter holidays, Durga Puja holidays, and Diwali holidays, it would roughly come to half my age, but never stayed as in never stayed
Long term.
for yeah for a longer period. So it was always Nanihal and Dadihal, as they
And
say in Hindi,
I understand. Yeah,
and then
because of the job, of course. I understand.
yes. So that is what, and then I am here in Delhi since last 18 years. My stay in Delhi has turned an adult this year. I shifted here in 2005, so 2023 makes it 18 long years that I have been in Delhi NCR. अब तो दिल्ली वाली बन गई हूँ.
Correct. I think places like Delhi, Bombay, maybe even Bangalore. I mean, one way or the other, they are cosmopolitans in their own way, and they are
Absolutely.
as inclusive. I think there is no real true Delhi wala. Everybody is a migrant in a way.
But
Everybody's come here from.
that is the beauty of Delhi, perhaps, that even if you have come from Calcutta or Bombay or Bangalore or Hyderabad, doesn't matter. Once you're in Delhi, you're a Delhi wala, and Delhi and embraces you with open arms, and
Yeah, and
it,
of course,
that
everything in terms of food, culture, religion, or I mean, just about everything you can probably get in Delhi as such.
street food, you're forgetting that part.
Street food, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Interesting.
Delhi is known for its street food across, I think, so why not?
Correct. Correct. So, most interestingly, tell me about quizzing. How did that happen, and what does a quizzer do?
Quizzing. Okay. So I started quizzing exactly 20 years ago. And it's iconic. I was about to ask you, did you choose this date intentionally or did it happen so? So because today is the day when I complete exactly 20 years in
Wow.
quizzing. So I started quizzing when I was in class 4th in way back in 2003. And I still remember it was an inter-house sports quiz competition. Olympics had just happened since 2000, right? 2004 was coming and 2000 had gone. I mean, Sydney Olympics had just passed 3 years back and Athens Olympics were about to happen. So my school decided to have an inter-house Olympics quiz competition. As much as I say that I'm not at all a sports quizzer, because I am a sports and like I watch sports for entertainment, and I think most of our conversations revolve also around IPL and how Delhi Capitals is doing and everything. So I am a sports enjoyer, but when it came to my first quizzing, it was an Olympics quiz, and I was in class 4th, and the participation started with 4th and 5th के बच्चों को लिया गया था in per house. So in my house, there were two bhaiyas, I would say now because they are elder to me. They were in class 5th, two bhaiyas and two of my batch. So I was the only girl in the entire quiz, number one. Number two, it was all guys because sports quiz and everything. So, I did not know how I'll fare well. But to my astonishment and excitement that our house of Worsley won the quiz, but we won it with a huge margin of 80 points. So the second team was at 100. We were at 180, and thanks to those 180, I think I scored 30 or 40 out of it, which is good enough. I mean, I was like I could contribute 40 points to that 180 that we, to that 80-point win that we had. So I was very excited, and that's how it started. But as a wizard, I would say I grew up to dislike it so much that I eventually started liking it because I'm brought up in a typical Bengali household. So if you have also seen Rocky Rani ki Prem Kahani ka, there's this scene where they're having a conversation and we call it adda. Right? Our adda is basically an intellectual yet informal conversation that we have with our parents and everything. Like they're discussing about the voting rights. If you've seen that,
I thought about
thing
it.
and everything. So that's very, very normal in a Bengali household. So we are brought up in the same way. So my father, who is still he's 64 right now, he has this habit of I was mugging up everything that's there in the newspaper. Everything includes everything, including the classified ads. You know, so that's what my sister and I put it, that our father mugs up the entire newspaper daily. So whenever he would come back from the office, he was like, okay, so today's quiz. And then he will put up quiz of 5 questions of current affairs, you know. And we hated it so much. We were like, school ki padhai kam thi, ki now you're bringing quiz. You are now pushing us towards current affairs also and all that. So we hated it. Both me and my sister hated it. But our quizzing culture goes back to our parents only. My father was a national level quizzer. My mother was a part of the Bonvita quiz contest when perhaps Nilo Brand did it in radio long back in 70s. So घर पे quizzing culture था. So I would not, you know, say sob stories like, "Hi, मेरे को तो बहुत मेहनत करनी पड़ी, ये करनी पड़ी." No, my sob story was opposite. I had to like come out of that, you know, and say, नहीं, मुझे नहीं करना quizzes, आप लोगों ने कर लिया, मुझे नहीं करना. But ठीक है, अब पापा ने बोला नहीं करना तो नहीं करना, but he would participate in some, you know, his corporate quizzes, and he was like, साथ तो आ सकती हो ना, you know, come with me and cheer for me, you know, basically, you know. And then I started going for these quizzes, you know, and then I realized Papa jo 5 question puchte, wo maybe that's a form of the quiz, but quiz is far more interesting than those 5 questions daily that we face, you know. It has audio visuals as well, it has cartoon questions as well. It's just not those current affairs, you know, that we face. So slowly I started liking it, and yes, school में तो बहुत ज़्यादा, you know, inter house, inter schools, and I was in a very small township. So inter school meant 3 schools, inter 3 schools. You know, there were not many schools around. There was just 3 schools. There was either a DAV or DPS. There was Kendra Vidyalaya for people who would keep on getting transferred, and there was a convent school. It could be St. Paul's, St. Joseph's, St. John's, whatever. So that was the idea. So that was the case in every city that I stayed in as a kid. So I generally studied in DAV because DAV again has branches, right? So it would be easier for me to shift from one DAV to the other. So before I came here in Noida till class 7th, 8th rather, I came here in 9th. So till class 8, I studied in various DAV. So DAV Chandrasekharpur in Odisha, or you know, DAV Kehalgaon. So these are the places and everything. So DAV had this inter DAV events also, which because in DAV has regions as well. So eastern regions would have schools from Odisha, Bihar, Jharkhand was just created. So Jharkhand, even West Bengal for that matter, DAV Durgapur used to come and everything. So we had inter DAV events. I would go there also. So I started liking it initially. And then came, you know, Bonvita quiz contest on TV, where Derek O'Brien would come on ZTV then. I don't know how many of you remember Bonvita on ZTV. So it used to come on ZTV initially. So I used to watch that, and you had, you know, guest quizmaster. You had Ustad Zakir Hussain, you had Yukta Mukhi come for one of them, I remember. So I was growing up eventually to like it further. And then NTPC has its own annual event, which is again a quiz, which is called Medha Pratyogita. So wo bhi chal raha tha and all that. I was trying. So I think in class 8th, I got a chance to be in the national finals and eventually win it. That gave me another, you know, boost. But in a way, when I shifted here to North India, and I was not very, you know, used to the idea that schools में receptions होते हैं, and there's a huge cultural gap for me. I mean, I was, you know, DAV has a very set things. You have Havans on every Saturday. You are supposed, you know, different kind of culture that you come from, and then suddenly you come to a place. एक तो नोएडा का नाम मैंने आने से पहले सुना ही नहीं था. So I told all my friends I'm going to some place near Delhi. I did not know what Noida is, and Noida was for me an alien land altogether. मैंने नाम ही नहीं सुना था नोएडा क्या नाम है मतलब. No, and for me Noida is equal to no idea था for a long time. You know, so that happened, and yeah, so I came here. It took me a year almost to realize कि मैं यहाँ quizzing कैसे start करूँ. And again, a big instrumental figure in that was another Bhasin, not my husband Nitesh Bhasin, but another Bhasin called Mrs. Veena Bhasin, who happens to be my school principal. And Vishnu Bharati public school, I took my admission in here in class 9th, and she happened to be my school principal. She retired and eventually passed away last year. I miss her dearly. So she's the one who I wrote her a letter कि ma'am SCPW में why don't we have quiz? We had SCPW activities. We had art and craft. We had all sorts of theater, music class and dance class and everything. We had even a elocution and debate club, but we did not have a quiz club. So I said, ma'am, can't we have a quiz club? So obviously, she told me that get me at least 10 signatures and I'll start the club. I don't have any problem. But for one kid, we can't start a club, right? You can take coaching or whatever, but club, you need at least 10 kids to be a part of it. And I remember CPW periods where something that we had with class 11, combined with class 11. So class 11 के भैया दीदी लोग भी आते थे, हम भी आते थे. So and in ninth, I figured I went to class. I literally went door to door, if you want to say, of classes, and I asked if any kid is interested in quizzing, please let me know. मेरे बैच से एक और बच्चा आया, but thankfully, to my astonishment, the elder batch had all the mostly again guys. I was the only girl again. But I had about 15 people who were interested, 15 boys who were interested in quizzing. And I was the 16th one. So I had 16 signatures and I finally took it to her. And she fought with the organization. Class 9th and 11th are supposed to be senior classes, right? Next year board dena hai. And us time pe board dena was such a habalu about it ki board dena hai. So she fought with the thing कि class 9th और 11th ही है ना, चलो 10th और 12th को include अभी नहीं करते, but 9th और 11th के 15-16 बच्चे तो हो ही रहे, उनके साथ start करते हैं. School से जाएंगे, they will represent schools and everything, the school and everything, they'll bring us laurels, and she fought for us. And that's how Quiz Club in Vishwa Bharati was started in 2006. I still remember, okay? So that's how school started and everything. अब मुझे था कि चलो college DU is known for its quizzes because even when I was growing up and I was in school, my father would take me to Kutub Quiz Club quizzes. He was a regular quizzer, right? He knew quizzers. He would know NTPC quizzes also. They would take me to quizzes. And NTPC had this club called Brain Ticklers Club, which was again a quiz club. So I was going through this club meetings and I knew, but what astonished me was there were very few women quizzing. Very, very few. The number was such skewed that there were two other women even in open circuit apart from me. So it was such a skewed number. I was like, ठीक है, but मेरा तो वही था ना कि college जाऊंगी तो ठीक है, I'll start quizzing and all that. But as fate would have it, I landed up in a girls' college. I was in Kamala Nehru College. So the struggle started again. अब गर्ल्स कॉलेज में क्विज क्लब स्टार्ट करना वाज अ रियल स्ट्रगल. स्कूल में यू स्टिल हैड बॉयज हु वुड कम एंड सपोर्ट यू, बट इन कॉलेज इट वाज ऑल गर्ल्स. यू हैड टू कन्विंस गर्ल्स कि भाई क्विजिंग नाम की चीज है, वो भी इंटरेस्टिंग होती है. वो सिर्फ इट्स नॉट जस्ट अबाउट स्पोर्ट्स और बिजनेस. इवन इफ यू वांट टू डू बॉलीवुड क्विजिंग यू कैन डू दैट. इफ यू आर इनटू डांस एंड म्यूजिक उसका भी अलग क्विज होता है, बट प्लीज कम एंड जॉइन बिकॉज there are some events where you have to take participants from the same institution and it was a task. You had to literally take a dummy partner with you and tell her ki I'll pay for your travel and I'll pay for your food, please just come with me. And when you're a student it's spending 50 or 100 rupees is also a lot because that's almost like half your pocket money. So that was quite a lot, but okay, I didn't stop. And the quiz club again, Kaleidoscope it's called now, but initially we started with Kaleidoscope in Kamala Nehru. मैं चलो इधर का स्ट्रगल खत्म हुआ. ये thankfully Kaleidoscope is now a very well known quiz society in Delhi, quiz circuits and everything.
Wow.
अच्छा, अब मास्टर्स में आई. It was thankfully university, co-ed university. I was in Ambedkar. I thought यहाँ पे तो क्या ही उतना दिक्कत होगा, यहाँ पे तो शायद quiz club होगा भी. Again, to my dismay, that there was no quiz club and there was no quizzing activities that used to happen. And I still remember this discussion. It was my first college university fest, which is called AUD at City or Audacity, as it's written that way. So, and we had to. I told the organizers, I just need a room where you can adjust at least 20 to 25 people because I had made friends in the circuit before. And I could invite them for an inter-college quiz competition. So I need a room with 20 to 25, which would adjust at least 20 to 25 people, and a screen so that I can conduct a quiz. And they asked what quiz is it. Let's see, I'm a proper quizzer by now, right? You can make out. So I told them that it is a spent quiz. Spent quiz is basically a portmanteau for sports and entertainment. So sports would cater to boys and entertainment would cater to women, as conventionally they believe. It's like, it's not that the women are not good sports quizzes or men can't be good entertainment quizzes, but this is a common notion that we had. Spent quizzes is something that would cater to both. I was like, okay. And the first question I was, oh, business quiz. I was like, business quiz? I just said spent. How is it business? I I came I told my mother. She's like, you talk about spending, right? Spent is also spending money. So they thought it's a business quiz. I could not. That gave me a whole new perspective to the quizzing world. That non-quizzers becoming quizzers, we can't use abbreviations or acronyms or portmanteaus which they are not used to. Like for us, if you ask them Mela quiz, a quizzer knows what a Mela quiz is, but for a non-quizzer, what is Mele me quiz? That is how they think. So Mela quiz for our artists is mythology, etymology, literature and arts. That's how we put Mela. But again, it has different things. A lot of people put as movies, new movies and music, etymology, literature and arts. That changes and everything. Sometimes people also put food and sports and make it flames. So these are the terms that we get to know and everything. But I was still quizzing. And yeah, in one such quiz, I met my partner. I mean, my life partner, my quiz partner became my life partner. We met in a quiz called Akhand Bharat, which was again quite interesting because his family comes from Rawalpindi, mine comes from Dhaka, and we met in a quiz called Akhand Bharat. And to our liking or disliking, I don't know, but a quizzer called Kunal Savarkar won the quiz. So Savarkar won a Akhand Bharat quiz. So it was politically correct as well. So that's how. And after marriage, of course, life has become more quizzical than ever. So kuch bhi ho raha ho, Nitesh would ask me a quick question, I would ask him a quick question. So a quizzer does this, you continuously learn. So, and that's how I said, I love reading. In this fast ongoing world, people have forgotten to face the book than just Facebook. They go onto Facebook and they've forgotten how to face the book, which is, I think I have always told the kids who have come to me, ma'am, how to prepare for a quiz. Like, face the book, stop Facebook, because Facebook you might get ideas, but you have to still read in detail. There's so much of information that you just touch and go, which is, I think, as they say, no, little knowledge is a dangerous thing. So you should know a little more detail when you're doing something. So yeah, that's how quizzing started, and that's how quizzing has been a part of my life now.
Great, great.
Yeah.
I think it essentially started because of family, but then also because you took I mean, you participated in that quiz
Yeah, I
event at
eventually
school.
gradually started loving it.
Correct, correct. And how about the love for movies? Where does that come from, or when did
Ah,
you start watching too many movies?
okay. So movies again, bachpan se, because I still remember I was 3 and somebody would ask me, so what do you want to be, when you grow up? My reply would be, I want to be a journalist because I want to interview Shah Rukh Khan. So in 92, 93, when a kid is growing up, imagine 92, I was 1 year old, right? So I was born in 91. So 93, when Dar came, I was 2, right? And like a lot of aunties would come and tell me, कितना गंदा लड़का है देखो, लोगों को मारता है, ये करता है, stalk करता है, and all that. A 2 year old, believe me, Pratik, I defended Shah Rukh Khan saying, ये तो सब acting है. So that's how it began perhaps with the love of Shah Rukh Khan, and Shah Rukh was my first love. I still say I'm again lucky because Shah Rukh is November 2nd November born, Nitesh is 12th November born. मैंने बोला चलो second नाम मिला तो से 12th से काम चला लेते. So मतलब वही मैं सोचती हूँ कई बार कि मतलब there are a lot of things, and then while I was growing up, चलो first love is Shah Rukh Khan. While I was growing up, I had a huge fascination for Devanand. I still have it. Okay, I love Devanand. Like that flamboyance, that style that he has, been through, throughout his life. I think even till his last date, he was such a swagger and flamboyant character that he was. So I love him, And again, Bhasins and Anands are perhaps the same caste, I have been told. So Biradari mein shaadi ho gayi. A biradari which gave me perhaps Anand's में कोई ना कोई relative निकल जाएगा and 2nd November का 12th.
Nice.
So yeah, movies again started very like when I was growing up. Again, watching perhaps Bengali films by Ray was what I was growing up with. I was watching all sorts of children film he was making, Hirok Raja Deshe, Gopiga and Bagabain, and all those movies that he was making for kids. One of my favorites is always the character Feluda, which he did with Shonar Killa and Jai Baba Felunath and everything. I loved reading. I still love reading. I still can read Feluda any day and every day. It's such a light. And what Ray does too is bring you small, intricate details to things. So I was talking to you about Hirok Raja Deshe. One thing is, if you see all the characters are talking in rhymes, they're talking in lyrics. But there's a teacher who does not fall into, like, he is not a part of the puppet government that the king has. That's why he speaks free verses. He doesn't speak in rhymes. His are dialogues, the others are all rhymes.
Right.
काफिया मिला मिला के बात करते हैं बाकी. So those little nitty-gritties that Ray brings to your plate, you appreciate as you're growing up. So when when you were a kid, Hirok Raja Deshe meant a very fun story where there's this tyrant king who is, whose praja is totally tired of him, and lastly his statue is, brought down by himself after being brainwashed and everything. And when you grow up, you suddenly realize, oh, so this was it. Basically, Hirok Raja was an embodiment of political scenario of that time. What was happening around, and you start understanding how it was. So that's what Ray does to you. So I started with all these movies, and eventually all sorts of, maybe Balika Vadhu, and there's a movie called Shriman Prithviraj. So I was watching mostly Bangla films because I was, that's my mother tongue, and I was obviously brought to them by my parents and everything. But yeah, but we occasionally, my parents also love watching films. My father is a huge fan of Audrey Hepburn. So, we would watch Roman Holiday, My Fair Lady, Wait Until Dark, and whatnot when we were growing up. My mother is a huge fan of Julie Andrews, so Sound of Music, Mary Poppins, and that was also a part of the plateau. So we would watch a lot of Western films as well. And as I said, NTPC is one family where you get to know so much about the around, because everyone is from a different region, right? So my neighbors were perhaps Tamilians, so they introduced me to Tamil films. They would introduce me to Kamal Hassan, they would introduce me to Rajinikanth, and I remember the older lady, the grandmother figure who stayed in front of her house. We called her Pati, which is Dadi for Dadi or Nani in Tamil, right? So we would call her Pati. So Pati would be like, "Arey, this is nothing. You should watch Shivaji Ganeshan's film," and he was more realistic and everything. So she's from that generation. She brought to on the platter Shivaji Ganeshan, and that's how I watched Parashakti and all those Paital Bhairavi like films. So films were eventually growing on to me, and I started reading literature again. Started with Ray. He wrote a book called Our Films and Their Films, which is called Bishay Chalachitra in Bangla, where he talks about foreign films. So that started, and then when I was also participating in quizzes, I was getting to know more about films and other things, and TV series. Where, well, I would say TV came much later in life because my mother was a very strict disciplinarian, so we did not have cable till I was perhaps in class 12. तब तक तो आदत हो गई थी टीवी ना देखने की, तो मतलब तो इवन क्लास 12 में उतना टीवी देखा नहीं, तो टीवी का उतना पता नहीं था. आई वुड हैव फ्रेंड्स हु वुड कम एंड टेल अस Disney Hour and all those, and Tailspin and everything. Tailspins I watched because it used to come on Doordarshan also sometime. दूरदर्शन वाले मैंने सारे देखे, जंगल बुक, Tailspin, Shaktiman, of course, Sundays were meant for Shaktiman for a long time. Captain Vyom and all those things. Doordarshan wale have watched a lot, but when it came to cable TV, Disney R and all those things, I was far away from all those because घर पे cable नहीं, you know. I don't know if this is a boon or bane. I consider it as a boon now because there was so much to watch in, when kids talk about Shakalaka Boom Boom and everything, it's like, I know about it. What you're saying, there is a magic pencil, that is it. But, that, I know about it. That's all, I can't say much about it. So that's how I was brought up, and TV and movies were slowly becoming a part of my growing up. Yeah. Not too much to
Interesting. No, I get it. I think again it perhaps comes mainly from parents and family, which is Bangla films.
yeah.
And then since there was no TV, you only probably would have evolved to other languages later on in life.
Yeah.
And which is, I think it also comes from when you read so much, you get fascinated by stories in general. And then whatever medium serves you a story, we tend to like, reading a story, hearing a story, experiencing a story.
And I like human stories a lot. So even the movies that has proper human essays, where the characters are properly, I don't know how to put it, but properly essayed that way. I enjoy movies where the characters are properly characterized. I mean, if there is no story, I don't like a movie. I mean, you have to have proper characterization and everything. So for me, the last good movie that I recently watched would be something like a John Wick 4, because, or Oppenheimer for that matter, because the characters were properly essayed and you know what role has been played by someone. But I would not like a movie like perhaps, Singham, because
Nothing. I mean, it's
Akamaji
just
Satak.
on the surface. It's on the surface, basically.
Yeah. So, yeah. Which
I get it. I get it.
people often, which often people say ki, Are, lekin, you have to watch movies like Singham to appreciate movies like Oppenheimer. I was like, really? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so, but I get the point. I mean, people. I mean, I think everybody wants to justify whatever they like to watch, and I think the beauty of movies is that there is a movie for everybody out there, right?
Absolutely.
Even a 2 point starer on an IMDb is also liked by someone for sure.
Obviously. I mean,
So I think
let's see, a movie like Gunda is still someone's guilty favorite. I
cult,
mean, it's all right.
cult
It's a
classic.
cult now. Yeah, absolutely. That's all.
Fine.
But yeah,
So what is?
movies are that, yeah, movies that way I can, as I said, Nitesh and I have this habit now. Every day we watch, or at least we try to watch once a week. We would pick up a series, we would pick up a movie,
Right.
we would watch it. So yeah, that's how it's now in the family also. Like we watch it as a family. If it, both of us like John Wick, both of us went for John Wick. But if something which all of us will like, something like Rocky or Rani, I plan it to take the entire family because it's almost like our story, right? I want to take both the Basuroys and the Bachins for the film
And
so they can understand that how we went through the same situation. So
correct. And how
yeah,
there is a difference in upbringing and values and it. Basic, I mean, basic differences in families. I get
yeah,
it. I
cultures
get it.
maybe. Yeah.
So what is this Sitaron Ka Bashinda all about?
So rightly placed after the movies because again inspired from movies. So this is my initial name in on Instagram was lactose intolerant meow. Okay, because I'm lactose intolerant and I consider my spirit animal to be a cat, which happens to be my kid now, which we'll come to later. But that was initial. But then when 2017 La La Land came and there's this song called City of Stars, right? And I love that song. I can like that's my go-to comfort song. Whenever I'm feeling low, that's my comfort song. So I can't name myself City of Stars, right? I'm a person. So it has to be someone who dwells in the City of Stars. So मैं सितारों का बाशिंदा हूँ. मैं वो
Wow.
City of Stars में रहती हूँ.
Wow.
That's how the name came.
That's lovely. Incidentally,
The
I
dweller
mean,
of City of Stars.
I also really like that movie and the songs also, of course. I mean, it is a musical. Quite a story. That's quite interesting. I think he
Yeah,
did
so
one
that's
good
how.
job there.
And I have a lot
Interesting.
of people who call it Sita and all that. And
I
I was like,
understand. I
Sita
understand.
kahan se aaya sitar? Then I had to put those
Double
hash
A.
hyphens and underscores in between. But still, people confuse. I was like, no, let it be in Sita hi bula lo, koi baat nahi."
I think it's a common error to get names wrong and whatever
Yeah.
like it happens.
And but I have this perfect way to even pronounce my name Bengali style. So you have on and off the switch. So you say on, in,
On
and
in
dita. Dita. Huh.
on Indita,
See, it's easy
on
that way.
Indita.
You'll never forget
Right.
now.
So maybe when you sleep, you should be called off Indita.
Perhaps, which hardly happens. I'm an insomniac. But yeah, I believe so. That's what, when everyone is sleeping, I'm either watching something or reading something or listening to some ghazals or something. I love listening to ghazals midnight. So I would, either play Ranji Shehi Sahi in my ears, or one of my favorite Mehdi Hasan Saab songs is Mujhe Tum Bhula To Na Doge. I
Very
I love
interesting.
that song. मुझे तुम गिरा नजर से क्या मुझे तुम नजर से गिरा तो रहे हो मुझे तुम भुला ना सकोगे. That song, I love that song. Or
Basically,
I love, again, for me, I need stories. As I said, even the song should tell you a story, or the lyrics are primary for me.
basically, you in itself have a lot of history and culture attached to you all through these years.
Absolutely.
So many
No,
books.
even if someone asks me what's like, one thing you ask motto of life or something like that. Again, Sahir Ludhianvi has written quite beautiful. कोई मुझको याद करे क्यों कोई मुझको याद करे मशरूफ जमाना मेरे लिए क्यों वक्त अपना बर्बाद करे मैं पल दो पल का शायर हूँ पल दो पल मेरी कहानी है. So, Dhoni also called it in his retirement, but I also believe it completely. You're replaceable. Just behave as if you're replaceable.
We
You can be
are, I
replaced
mean,
anywhere.
that's the only way to live, probably, right?
Yeah.
I mean, accept the fate,
जितना
accept,
जियो जब तक कल हो ना हो, but at the same time remember that you can be replaced anywhere.
right, right. Makes
And
sense.
that way you become, like my another mispronunciations of my name is Anandita, but that's how you remain Anandita. Perhaps that you realize that you're replaceable and you work accordingly. किसी दिन भी replace हो सकता है. काम करते रहो जब तक center stage पे हो तब तक करते रहो.
Right. A cat has 9 lives, humans have one.
Yeah, but my cat has I don't know how many lives. So yeah,
Let's,
she's the
let's get
center.
to
She is at
let's
center
get to the
stage.
cat now. Let's get to
Yes,
the cat now.
absolutely.
So you want to tell us
So
about how it happened?
so first of all, let me introduce my
Please.
four-legged baby. So she came into our lives on 26th of May in 2021, and her name is Mao Mao. Another fun thing, we called her Mao Mao so that she can tell her name when you ask her. We believe in giving complete freedom to our kittens too. So if you ask her name, she says that she's called Mao Mao. She mows twice, and that's how you know that her name is Mao Mao. And yeah, so she was one of my friend's kitten, and my friend was then staying in Bombay. She was working in Bombay with me. She was staying in Bombay, and she had her as a pet. But COVID struck, and she had to come back to Noida to her parents and everything. And she stayed here for good because she got a job opportunity here in Noida, and she decided to shift to her parents in Noida. Now, where will the kitten go? So the kitten was sent to another friend's house where we heard, I don't know them, where we heard that she was not fed properly. The lady of the house would often throw water at her, would torture her, or whatever. And she was not feeling safe there. So Vidhi called me up and she's like, "Would you like to have the kitten?" And at that time, I was about to get married to Nitesh. I was still not married to Nitesh. So I told Vidhi, I'm about to shift to another house right now. So even if I take her here, I don't know how well she will be taken care of, because I can't monitor her taking care and everything. So let me shift to, Nitesh's place and let me talk to Nitesh if he's okay with having a pet. I don't know how, because we never talked of having a pet when we are getting married and everything. So I called up Nitesh and I told Nitesh that there's this kitten that I intend to adopt once we get married. Is that okay with you? And the first thing he said was, why are you even asking? Don't you know me in these last 3 years? I mean, yes, why not? Let's have it. I was like, great. So when do we have her? She's like, let's get married and then we'll get her here. And we got married on 30th of April in 2021. And that's another story. You can also perhaps do an entire day on that, how we got married. But then that happened and mm, we got married in April and then finally, and that time it was the peak of the second wave. Delta variant was its peak. And Bombay and Gujarat were the most affected areas around that time. So we did not know how should we get her home or what should we do about it. So Vidhi contacted another friend in Noida, and she had already got Mau Mau here in Noida to another friend of hers. And apparently that friend also called us up and said, Ki, I already had a kitten, but that is a male tabby kitten. So now that tabby kitten is not getting used to her being around, and because the attention is being divided between the two, she's not accepting the he's not accepting Mama much. So why don't you, if you want to take her, why don't you take her from Noida only whenever you next come home? So since COVID was hit and everything was closed and everything, we literally had to ask our doctors and to ask my doctor to write me a prescription that come and visit me in my clinic so that we could go to Noida and if the cops asked us in between, so we could show them in between that we have to go to the doctor. That's how we are going. So that's what happened, and we went to Noida. We met my parents, and on the way back, we took Mama home.
Right.
And once she came home, it was a very whole new world to us because it's like a baby coming home, right?
Right.
And you are a first time parent, so you don't know how to treat your baby. What she eats, what she drinks, how will she drink, where will she poop, what will she do. It took us a good 1 month's time to realize what does she eat, how does she stay, and also to accept Nitesh initially. I was not still accepted, perhaps because, as I said, the lady of the house was not very welcoming to her in the past house. So she was not accepting me much initially. For her to accept me took a much longer time, 2 more months perhaps. So 3 months later, I still remember I came home from work and she ran up to me, and that's how I knew that I was finally, accepted. I was accepted, and it was such a happy moment because before that I would cry with Nitesh saying, मुझसे तो बात ही नहीं करती, मेरे पास भी नहीं आती, मैं छूने की कोशिश करती हूँ, डर के भाग जाती है, दुबक जाती है, but when will she accept, that struggle was real. But I now, and also since she's a female cat, I remember before we got her spayed, she had her menstruation cycles as well and everything. She was going through pain. Pain में माँ ही याद आती है ना. दर्द में सबसे पहले if you're at pain, you remember your mother, right? She would come to me. She would be like, you only understand me. She would sleep over me. She would sleep holding my hands. So that way she would be in pain, she would be with me. But whenever she would be alright, she would be back to becoming a Papa ki pari, that's how we call her even now. So she would run off to Nitesh and she will talk to him. She will roam around him and everything. That's how it became with him. But now, after she got spayed, I think Beach mein Nitesh started going to work. So I used to give her food. I used to, change her water. I would take care of every little thing that she needs. Now, for the last 2-3 months, I am her favorite. So even if, in the early morning when I open the door that she could go out of the room and whatever, she would first, rub her nose against me and then she'll go. That's her way of saying that, good morning, and then she'll go. So now I am her favorite parent. Anything she needs to do, she'll run up to me, she'll talk to me. There are days she'll just sit next to me and she'll be like, she'll try to make me explain that, see, I'm there with you and I'm there for you. And I mean, she's been such a lovely presence in the house. Recently, I fell down in the washroom. मैं गिर गई और मैं obviously since like Nitesh करके चलाया जोर से because I fell down. Nitesh, I think, had a headphone or earphone in his, So Mama came running to me. Are you okay? Are you fine? She literally ran up to me. And then I was like, oh, I'm fine. I'm trying to get up and all that. She came back to the bed. She literally pushed Nitesh कि उठो मम्मी को क्या हुआ है जाके देखो. And that's what animals do to you. They love you beyond measures. I mean, a lot of people ask, it's been 2 years, you don't have a kid. I was like, yeah, we do have a kid. That kid who loves us so much. And she loves us so much. And I mean, that love is beyond measures. And I don't know how else to put it. That's complete selfless love.
I think pet parenting is very real, and a lot of people are opting to be just pet parents, not, have a
To
human
be
child.
parents. Yeah. Well, we are
Child is
being very optimistic here. Let's see, but wo bhi aayega, so why not? But
no, of course. I
you
mean,
should all.
I'm saying that it's very formal and established now, being parent to a pet like that. I mean, in a certain way.
Yeah, but it's a full-time parenting job as well. That
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly. If you want to take good care, then you will dedicate yourself to it. But otherwise, there are so many cases where the pets are like a part of the household, which some
yeah,
maid or somebody will,
yeah.
and something like that. So yeah, interesting,
No, which
interesting,
is
very
which is where I think when you take responsibility of a living being, whether it's a plant, I'm bringing
yeah,
it, whether
yeah.
it's a plant, you have to take care of it completely. I mean, even if you have plants at home, you should water them regularly. You have to take care of them. I think every living being should be taken care of that well.
Correct, correct. I mean, if you're taking responsibility, you better live up to it, or don't take the
Yeah, absolutely.
responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
Good, good. So I think I'm generally short of words, but what I wanted to say is that hearing about your quizzing and movies and the Bengali upbringing and Mamo Basin is itself so nice, encapsulating and entertaining also, that I think probably if we want to hear more about your life, your work and other aspects to what you do, we'll probably need 2, 3 more episodes and then we'll be able to capture it all.
Yeah,
Right?
maybe.
You'll not
You haven't
be a,
yet heard about the Basin part of my life.
you'll not be a You'll not be a short film, you'll be a 6-part documentary of Netflix.
Pratik flicks, you mean, as of now.
Yeah, some people are on Netflix, some people are on Netflix. Yeah,
We are all on both Netflix and Pratik flicks.
absolutely. Absolutely. No, but so much fun talking to you, so much fun knowing more
Absolutely.
about you. But of course, as we can both see, there is so much more to know about you, which I'm sure people can also know more by following you and generally keeping up with what you're up to.
Absolutely.
And I just wish you the best with more movies, more work, more cat stories, more husband stories, and more stories in general.
No, one husband is enough.
I said more husband stories.
Done.
I'm sure one is enough. I'm sure one is enough.
No, I can't handle anymore. एक ही काफी.
Nice, nice, nice. That sounds good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you so
Yeah.
much for joining and
And
see you around.
hope to see you on the other end of the
Yes, yes,
other
yes.
side of the story as well.
Correct, correct, correct. Sounds good, sounds good. Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you so much for being part.
sure.
Tata, bye bye.
Bye bye.